Julia, thank you. Thank you for sitting with us today. So I've got a few questions here. And the first one we want to say, like, you're obviously a very visual director and seem to have like a firm idea of what you want. So how do you approach a scene? How do you know where to place the camera, where to move the camera?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Thank you for asking it. To start with, the visual aspect of my film is already there in the writing, in the script. In my writing process, I'm also extremely visual. I tend to describe basically the scene that I have in my head. My only limit is that I don't put any mention of the camera through the script because it would make the reading extremely tedious. So I don't do that, but I talk a lot about even the light, even the sound effects, the CGIs, anything, the set design. I mean, my scripts are extremely precise because I consider that they are a tool that I create for the crew, and that everyone who reads it and appropriate it for themselves within the crew should be able to have a clear idea from the get-go, from the reading, as far as where we are going, what's the direction we're going to take. So it's already very visual in my head every time. This being said, the question of where to put the camera is a very good one, because I don't know if you realize it while asking me this question, but it's actually a very existential one. The choices that you make with the camera are one, to me, is the continuity of the writing. I consider that you keep writing your film with the camera, with the direction of your actors, and with any decision basically that you make on set. To me, the writing doesn't stop after the last draft of the script. It continues on, and it goes on afterwards in post-production as well, obviously in editing, but also in all the choices you're going to make for your special effects, sound design, and all this. The question of where to put the camera is existential, because it's the place where you constantly question yourself as far as the distance to your scene is concerned, and as far as the emotion you want to convey is concerned, and as far as your goal for this particular scene is concerned. It's a build-up, take after take. When you do many takes, it's not just to repeat the same thing over again and to think, oh, I have enough material in editing. Not at all. Doing many takes means creating a build-up with your actors, with your DP, with your sound engineer, to create a build-up aiming for the essence of the scene. You have to know that I start the shooting with a very, very steady shot list. I do many drafts of shot listing ahead in preparation, because I think that the steadier you are with your shot list, the more adaptable you can become on set. The more you know where you're going, the more you're going to be able to adapt to any obstacles that are going to present themselves on sets, because you know what your intention is, you put it on paper, you decided, for example, that it was going to be a close-up and then a track back going on that way, stuff like this. It sounds good in your head, but sometimes when you do the setup with the actors and the camera, you realize that what sounded good in your head doesn't actually pan up very well, that it feels a little bit flat, a little bit off, or not precise enough. But because you know where you're going and what your original intention was, it's easier to change direction and say, no, listen, I said we would do this, but we're actually going to do the opposite, started on a wide, coming into the shot and stuff like this. And coming again back to this existential aspect, I'm going to give you a very specific example. To me, as I've realized, throughout my film, it's actually easier to shoot a one-er that lasts 5 minutes, which is very long for a one-er, with 500 extras, a crane movement, and a whole choreography with the camera, which I did on Titan for the one-er when she enters the car show. This sounds incredibly hard, and it is technically hard, But once you've rehearsed this many times, you know, it's just getting better and better as far as the technical aspect is concerned for every technician behind the camera. But, you know, it doesn't engage you as a person take after take. The only goal is to make it technically the best, you know. But when you shoot a scene where it's just dialogue in a room, where the dialogue is actually very emotional or very confrontational and that you're asking a lot from your actors, the question of where I put the camera becomes way more difficult. Because basically, you know that you have actors who are giving you their all every time, and take after take, you direct them again to aim at something that is quite essential, towards where all we're going. But with your camera, the question is, how do I elevate the emotion and how do I elevate their intentions to reach the right note, if you wish. So to just do a single, you know, shot, reverse shot with your camera, you take after take, you wonder, is it the right distance for the camera? Is it the right angle? And is it the right lens that I have chosen in order to both respect the actors and at the same time be at the core of the emotion, but not be overly voyeuristic, not be too close, like you have the limit of decency in a way that you don't want to breach. And this is really a matter almost of life and death at every little, you know, steps. That it feels like they are the easiest scenes to shoot because they're not technical per se, but they are actually the most difficult ones, I believe. That was a freaking long answer, I apologize.
No, that's a super interesting answer. That's really interesting because, yeah, I think most people would think those huge oneers, like you say, are the things that take the most, but I guess that's more like a dance that you're rehearsing and then...
Yeah, exactly. It's a choreography.